And finally tonight, 5 years after the BP oil spill, negative effects are still lingering and the recovery is slow. Some members of Congress and people living in the Gulf Coast region want more to be done. I'm joined tonight by Dean Blanchard, New Orleans area shrimper and owner of Dean Blanchard Seafood. Also with us tonight is attorney Brent Coon, whose firm represents victims of the BP spill. And with us here in New York, Congressman Frank Pallone, who's a member of the Energy and Commerce Committee, who's introducing legislation to ban offshore drilling in the Atlantic. Congressman, I'll start with you first tonight. What would this ban mean? What would be allowed? What would not be allowed?
Well, there wouldn't be any offshore drilling for oil and gas off the coast of the Atlantic. And what I want people to understand is that the BP oil spill could happen easily again. There were a bunch of recommendations by a bipartisan commission, which Congress never enacted. And this type of deep water drilling is just as dangerous and prone to a spill as it was 5 years ago.
So they're doing the same stuff today they were doing 5 years ago? That there's really been no curtail of operations at all?
No, not really. And beyond that, the fact of the matter is that in the Atlantic, all of the drilling would have to be far out at sea, just like the BP drilling was done. You don't have the oil or natural gas close to shore as you do in the Gulf. So the type of deep sea drilling, if you will, that took place in the case of BP would have to be done all along the Atlantic to have any results. And the impact on the tourism industry would even be greater because we're so dependent on tourism off the coast of New Jersey, Virginia, the other states.
Would you go so far as to say that the BP oil spill 5 years after the effect has really had no impact on lawmakers?
It has had no impact whatsoever.
Dean, now that you hear that, it's 5 years after the fact. How do you feel about it? Good to have you with us tonight.
Well, it's certainly not surprising. I mean, the Exxon Valdez didn't have no effect on the lawmakers to make new rules. They made new rules, but the oil companies didn't follow.
Where are you 5 years after the fact? What is your business like today compared to what it was?
I told my wife we're going to go till Labor Day. If things don't change, we're going to close.
Why is Labor Day the drop-dead date for your shrimping industry?
Well, it's the last day of our summer season on the island, and I figured we'd give it that's usually our best time, so we're going to give it through Labor Day, and if it ain't changed, we're just going to close.
You get a sense that your area has changed forever?
Oh, it'll never be the same in my lifetime. I realize that. I mean, all you got to do is look at what happened in Alaska. I mean, I don't know if I got 30 years left.
Brent, what about BP's announcing $134 million in proposed early restoration projects? Are they trying to make it right?
I think it's a part of their long-term public relations campaign. To a layperson, earning $34 million sounds like a lot of money. But when you break that down into how much it actually costs to make proper reparations, it is the proverbial drop in the bucket.
The 15,000 people that you represent, Mr. Coon, are they going to see restitution?
You know, a lot of them are not. Ed, we talked about this on your last series on this case, and nothing's changed. I mean, it's 5 years now.
Since the last time you and I talked, nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. BP's entrenched. It's a witch hunt against the claimants at this point. Nothing's changed with the numbers. They appeal every single award that comes out of the claims process. Less than 15% of the claimants that submitted claims over the last 3 years have been paid. Less than 1% of the businesses that went under of the 4,000 businesses that submitted claims have been paid. It's a debacle. BP is winning that public relations battle, and they're basically starving everyone out and wearing them out.
Congressman, what do you make of those numbers?
I didn't see the actual numbers there in terms of the recovery, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
BP, according to Mr. Coon, the attorney who represents 15,000 people, less than 15% of the people are going to get restitution on this.
Yeah, I mean,
why does Congress let them get away with this?
Well, I think they shouldn't. I mean, you know, look, one of the things I should tell you, Ed, is that, you know, the Democrats have wanted to implement these changes to protect the drilling. But, you know, ever since the BP spill, the Republicans have been in the majority in Congress. So that's why we haven't been able to make any changes and to do what is necessary for recovery as well. But I think that they should get every cent of what they're looking for damages so that they can come back. I would hate to think the same thing would happen in New Jersey or on the East Coast if we had a similar spill.
But they're operating the same way, and it could happen.
It could easily happen again.
All right, Dean, Governor Bobby Jindal released a statement today saying that more needs to be done. What would you like to see him do? What has he done, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know if you realize that, but his brother is a lawyer for BP. I mean, he hasn't done nothing. He hasn't done nothing to help us. I got in an argument with him right at the beginning. I've been knowing Bobby for a long time. He's done nothing to help us, nothing at all.
Dean, again, you say Labor Day is the drop-dead date for your business. Don't they win if you do that?
I ain't got no choice. I just can't afford it. It costs me $5,000 a day to run my business. If I can't make money between Memorial Day and Labor Day, I know for sure I'm not going to make money in the winter time. So if I can't get ahead enough by Labor Day to carry me through the next winter, I just as soon shut down. And if I'm going to go broke, I'd rather go broke watching TV on the sofa than working myself to death.
Brent, have you seen lives destroyed?
Many.
Explain.
Well, it's just like what Dean said. I mean, I've been sitting here talking to him before the show today. It's tragic what's happened to these coastal communities that lived off of our marine estuaries in the Gulf and in the tourism. We've had literally millions of lives affected. We've had hundreds of thousands of businesses affected. We've had thousands of businesses that ran out of capital, and every week some of them still collapsed from the impact of the economy from 5 years ago. They just ran out of money to keep things going.
5 years ago today, it is the anniversary. Dean Blanchard, Brent Coon, Congressman Frank Pallone, great to have you with us tonight. I appreciate it.